Alright, so welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, and these are going to be our final lessons here, and I'm going to try to keep them somewhat short. I'm not going to make it excessively long. Since we now have everything pretty much set up for Bender's control rig here, we're going to go ahead and start adding some of the extra assets that I've built and rigged outside of our rigging tutorial to go ahead and actually add more to our character here. And what I want to go ahead and do here is first bring in one of our assets, and we'll start off with our chef hat. And we're actually going to start off with the hat specifically here. So with that selected, we'll go ahead and scale this up just a little bit here, and you can see where it also has its own smooth control for the chef hat here. Let's go ahead and open up the outliner here. We're going to simply rename this as B_chef hat. Okay, we're going to take this group, drag it onto the Bender Master Control group. This way, everything's organized here. I'm just going to go ahead and drag that off here. Now, there's a couple different ways that we can actually parent this to the rig. But we have to think to ourselves, well, if we're animating Bender, do we want that chef hat to be specifically parented to the rig so that it's not actually going to be animatable as well? No, we would actually want the chef hat to not only be parented to the rig, but also have the ability to go ahead and detach that from the rig, so that we can then, if needed, pull that hat off. Or if he said, pull that hat off, then he could carry that hat or do whatever he wanted with it. And so there's sort of a specific way that I want to go ahead and do this here, so it's going to allow us to come in and actually allow us to go ahead and do that. So first thing I want to go ahead and do here is grab our chef or our Bender head control, and I'm going to add an attribute to it here, which is just simply going to be an integer value, and it's just simply going to be displayable, just so I can call this chef hat. And then whenever it comes in, you can see where it doesn't allow us to have any values or anything, as you can see. So we'll just simply lock this, just so that it's going to be displayable and not keyable. Okay, and then we're going to add an enumerated value here. So this is going to be the chef hat viz control. So we can go ahead and turn this off. We can also turn this on. So let's go ahead and add those. And we also want to have a chef hat. Just making sure that I get a capital there. Detacher. So this is going to allow us to go ahead and detach the chef hat whenever we want to say turn that off and from the control rig. So let's just call this connected, and then we'll call this blue one the free controlled. Okay, go ahead and just move that off my screen there so that we can go ahead and have this much workspace as we need here. So let's go ahead here and grab our headmaster controller or our head controller here. Come up to our window, general editors, connection editor. Okay, and we're going to reload this in our left. Take the chef hat viz, and then we're going to take the entire chef hat group, reload this in our right side, connect that, and you can see where it turns off. Okay, so let me go ahead and just drag that connection editor back off here. So we'll reselect our head here, make sure that we turn this on, because we're going to be parenting the control rig here to the chef hat controller. So we want to go ahead and constrain this as a parent, and we also want to go ahead and constrain this as a scale. So now if we go ahead and select our group master control, you can see where that chef hat is going to work with the rig. Okay, making sure that I go ahead and reconnect that eye connection there. So now what I want to go ahead and do here is grab my parent constraint for our chef hat. Okay, and we're going to come up here to animate, set driven key set. We're going to load this in as our driven command. Okay, we're also going to take our head CC, load this as our driver. Going to take our detacher, and we're not going to key this to the head weight or the head parent constraint weight. We're just going to simply do it to the node state. Okay, just making sure that we have this connected on. The node state's going to be normal. Okay, we'll go ahead and key that. Then we'll take our head, change this to our free controlled, take our node state, change this to blocking. We'll go ahead and key that. So now you'll see that that actually doesn't have an effect, but it still has the scale constraint, which is what we want. Okay, just so that you know what I mean. If we were to go ahead and leave that non-connected or connected or whatever, and still scaling the rig to take it into another scene, it's still going to scale properly. You would just, you know, have to go ahead and replace that. So it's fine as it is there. So let's go ahead and make sure that we reconnect this. Test this as well. And there you can see where our chef hat is actually working properly. So now we can simply just go ahead and turn that off. Okay. And we're ready to go ahead and bring in another asset for Bender's control rig here. And I'm just cleaning up my outliner here off screen so that I know what's what. So let's go ahead and bring in our next asset here, and this is going to be another hat. So we want to go ahead and bring in our Bender TF2 hat, and you can see where this comes in at the bottom. So we'll just grab the master control here, go ahead and bring this up. And adding this hat, I probably should have made some Apollo Creed style shorts for him, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and just simply rename this. Let me go ahead and just drag this up here to try to get it in the middle. Go ahead and delete that light sphere. I really don't want that. Okay, drag this also into the Bender Master control group. We're going to do the same thing here. Add an attribute to the Bender CC head. So we'll just make this you can really just keep it as an enumerated value too. It's really just to be displayable. We're not necessarily going to go ahead and actually add any control numbers to it because we're just going to tend to lock it anyway. So we'll just call this the TF2 hat, just so that we can go ahead and display that, and then we'll just simply lock that. Okay. And we'll go ahead and add our TF2 hat display, and we'll call this off, call this one on. We'll go ahead and add that, and add our connection one, so TF2 detach, using the same sort of method, connected and free. Okay, go ahead and drag that off screen here. Go ahead and drag my outliner off screen here. And we will take the head control, go ahead and parent constraint. We'll also scale constraint. Okay, and we will go ahead and bring our outliner back here. Taking our TF2 hat, we're going to reload this into our connection editor, and also taking the head CC. So we'll come down here to TF2 hat display, visibility. You can see where that turns off. And go ahead and just move this, so we'll turn this back on. Okay. Open up our set driven key window here, making sure that we load the head CC as our driver. And we'll go ahead here and grab our parent constraint. Go ahead and reload that in the driven window, the node state, the detacher. Okay, since this is connected, we can go ahead and key that. Reselect our head, turn this as free. Turn this to blocking so that it doesn't have an effect. Go ahead and key that. And now we can see that we have our hat connected. and it's also going to work with the there. And you can see that the hat now also has a control rig on top of it. It also has some animations or CC curves so that we can actually go ahead and animate that if you want. Okay, and it also has our smooth control. And there is your Bender Apollo Creed hat. Go ahead and just drag that set driven key window off screen there. We will go ahead and turn our Bender TF2 hat off. Okay, so we want to go ahead and import what is the last of our head assets here. And this one will probably be pretty funny to people. It's going to be the gender bender hair. I just need to go ahead and place this properly. Okay. So we'll take our outliner here. Rename this as the GB underscore hair. Okay. We'll drag this onto our Bender Control Master group. Go ahead and add an attribute to the head CC again, just displayable or whatever. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do it the way that I'm doing it. So we'll call this the GB Viz or GB underscore controls. Go ahead and lock this. Go ahead and add our GB Viz controller. Okay, we want this first one to be off. We want the blue to be on. Okay, GB detacher. This is going to be connected. This one's going to be free. Okay, so let's go ahead and drag this off screen here. Now take our head CC and our GB global hair control, which is this big yellow control, and we will parent constraint, and we'll also scale constraint. And you can see our hair control also has animation levels as well as a close-up rendering level, but it also has a glow control, so the hair can actually glow like Goldilocks. Okay, so we'll go ahead here now and grab our head CC, load this as our driver, grab the parent constraint for the GB hair, and I'm just doing this in the outliner simply because it's the same process. We'll just key the node state here. The detacher is connected, so we can simply just go ahead and key it right away. Change the CC head down to free. Gender bender here node state has to be the blocking, because then it's going to have no effect. Go ahead and key that, so we can go ahead and close that window and just check it if you want to. The scale constraint there obviously works. Okay, making sure that it's connected, so then that works as well. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and grab our head CC, open up our connection editor here, reload that into the left side, grab our GB here master group here, reload this into our right side, and you can see where I'm just grabbing the GB here, and I'm just simply doing that off screen so that you guys can see everything that I'm doing here. Okay, reload that into the right, take our GB Viz controller, connect this into our visibility so that it turns off there. Go ahead and close that window, and now if we want to go ahead and turn it back on, we can, as you can see there. We can also go ahead and change the resolution here, and we can also go ahead and change the resolution again. You can see that it's pretty smooth, but you can see where the head's actually a little bit off here, so we might have to go ahead and move this up just a touch more. as you can see there. And there we go. Go ahead and turn this back to our animation level. Go ahead and turn the hair off. And there we've actually added all of our hats into the scene. And in the next lesson, we'll go ahead and come back and start adding some more of the control for what is going to be our body assets and continue to work.